Okay, when people ask me for demonstration, I'm not a kind of painting, it's not a good demonstration painting style, because mine is slow, layer by layer, and then waiting for it to dry out, and doing it again, and doing it again. So I don't paint this one, kind of my painting, I don't paint just wet to wet, it's kind of wash, kind of, it's here and there, and it's kind of lose the line or something, and it's kind of done. Because mine is like, from the beginning, I plan my painting ahead time. Okay, it's like, okay, I have a garland, just kind of, for instance, and I just go to Iverson, buy a bunch of garland, right? And I just kind of set it up, kind of here and there or something, and it's kind of usually what I do is like I use lots of light, like sunlight. I don't use artificial light because the sunlight, I think I have a free sunlight. I don't want to use artificial light because usually I like sunlight better than any other artificial light. So that's what I use to take a picture, because if you look at it, it's kind of, mine is kind of tighter, detailed. If you go some of the painting, you see it's kind of, this is the smaller painting I do and I carry around. And usually when I'm at home, I cannot carry that thing, sorry, it's kind of larger size. And when I do that, because I just kind of have, from the beginning, when I take a picture and I look at it, and it's kind of, I take picture. Thank God digital picture these days. I can take a lot of picture, I can delete, and I can actually just kind of have that something that I want. Whatever the reason, I pick some image out of 100, and later I just kind of thinking, why did I pick this one? And I just don't know why I picked that one. And I think this is kind of, that's the moment of like the coincidence that we live with all the time. I think this is not coincidence. This is like what they call synchronicity. And I use this one. I guess if you look at this one, can you see? I didn't have time to print out this one. This one is actually, you can grow this one here. Lantern. I insist on calling Korean lantern. Okay, this is a Korean lantern, and I set it up, and I kind of took a picture of it. You see? So this is going to be, I wanted to paint this one for a while, and I thought, okay, this is perfect timing for this. And I don't have pictures, so I have to look at this. All right, so after I draw this one, I apply the free sketch. When I paint, because a lot of time people know for my crystal painting, because lots of time people think it's I paint, because crystal painting, it can be very tedious. So what I do is, I will just kind of pick out my highlight, and I will free sketch. And I found this one is very fast. It's working much faster. So I used this before. I used a toothpick and no more. And I use this one now. And which is, I think everybody knows. I use Winsor & Newton, kind of yellowish masking fluid. This is what I use. And I don't want to apply too much because I wanted to start painting. So when I'm painting this creature, I think you can see this one here. When I have this one, you see this red here. Can you see? But this area is more bluish, but no red. But I will apply red all over. Kind of a yellow and red spread out. But eventually what's going to happen is, it's going to be a little lighter, gentle yellow and red, and kind of a more blue. But this area is not going to be like a red like this, but I'm going to spread this one all over to unify the whole glass of the painting. Okay, it's the color of the painting, glass. So I'm going to apply this one all over, and later I start to sectioning out and glazing it again, kind of glazing again over with the darker area. And I just kind of isolate here and there to start the building up. That's what we are doing. So we, it doesn't mean that I cannot paint this one before crystal. I can paint any way I want, but it's like usually I have to pick one area to start with. So at this point, first thing is I have to start putting this one undercoat. So I always start with the undercoat. Without undercoat, that I like to make painting, even it's kind of lighter painting. I think that iris kind of almost kind of dirty, almost like too dark. But I like to go a little deeper than what it's supposed to be. Kind of picture is just picture. What I want to do is my painting. You see, so I don't like painting being a little bit too, kind of being light. I think that's why I don't paint wet to wet and just kind of let it go thing, because for me, it look like not finished. It's my instinct to kind of, for me, it's not finished. I wanted to do more. And when just kind of let go of it, colors are just kind of not going together like how I wanted to. So I wanted to control, yes, I control. So I wanted to control this one a little bit more because I frisk it, I don't want to touch my brush into it, so okay. So this is the time I'm gonna go, I usually go yellow first. Unless my painting is gonna be bluish tone or lavenderish tone, just like there. And I think it's even garlic painting, there's a lot of yellow undertone to it. Without yellow undertone, everything became a little shallow. Can you see? It doesn't have that depth. So I like to use the yellow. So I have a yellow palette. And while I'm painting, if you have some kind of question, ask me. Because when I paint, I only concentrate on kind of technique-wise, everything within this. So it's kind of outside of this one, I just can't, just don't think about that. So if you ask me a question, if I know it, I will answer. If I don't know it, I will make up for you, okay? Because usually I can come up with an idea.
What color yellow is that? What color yellow is
Permanent yellow light. This one is permanent yellow light. This one is permanent yellow dark, deep. And this one, I think we talked about this one in the workshop. It's kind of hard to say what permanent yellow light means, permanent yellow light. Out of tube is all different story, okay? It's like cadmium yellow light, cadmium yellow medium. I have no idea, but when I put them in here, I will know what I want, you see? So I usually say, don't trust your tube, trust your palette. Because this one is kind of a little bit big. Can you see, only one thing that I will think about is, can you see this area is a little lighter? Actually, this one is a little darker. So I will concentrate on a little bit more this side. So it's kind of, I am not going to too much control the color variables. And I'm blending this area out. Blending is like feathering it out. So I am going to have some yellow, but it's not as strong as this area.
How do you remove your masking fluid? Because it normally, for me, it picks up the paper. It removes, like when I use masking fluid, it removes the paper sometimes underneath.
I think sometimes if you have a kind of very soft paper, I don't know, usually if you have a Winsor & Newton or Arches, you are not going to have a problem. But sometimes Canson has that problem. Canson or Strathmore, because they are very soft. So they just kind of, it's whatever the reason, I don't know, it's like these days, actually, I am using, this one is with Arches. And did you apply frisket when paper was wet? No?
No.
Usually, what kind of paper did you use?
Just 100% cotton paper.
Cotton?
Cotton.
I wonder why. Don't use cotton.
No, cotton.
What?
Cotton.
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 Cotton, 100% cotton paper.
Yeah.
What company?
It depends. Sometimes arches, but
Oh yeah, arches I never have a problem. But usually sometimes I don't use like a Cutman or Kansan or Strathmore. They are much softer. So if you apply,
do you remove it with your finger or do you remove it with a lube?
this.
Yeah,
This one is kind of what they call
it's like a
rubber cement remover. Yes, I use that.
Thank you.
I don't know, it's kind of, I didn't have any problem. And I was going to show you this one. And these days, I don't know what happened. Okay, I know what happened. These days, actually, sizing has changed a whole lot. You know, paper sizing. That's why it's just kind of not that good to have. Can you try this one for me? Thank you. So, I'm going to show you this one. Oh, okay. I'm going to show you something now. So, right now, I have, kind of, that one is kind of, that painting is more likely just kind of this creaser. But here, I have an undercoat of, is it kind of, can you see this one? It's kind of very light blue underneath here. And this paper is Fabriano, and it's very hard to work with because I like things to be sit on it. This one wiggles like this. So because I didn't want to make too much of a marking on it, so I have to let this one kind of run down to just make it kind of not to make a marking. So color came a little bit lighter than what I like to be. But this one is going to be. So at this point, what I have is all my undercoat is done. Can you see? This is my undercoat. And this is my undercoat. The blue is undercoat. So now I am going to start making my fours. Okay, I'm going to go this one a little bit dark. So I always have my. We have a little more light.
Do you trace or do you freehand show all this?
I don't, these days, okay. These days, there's a tool, what you call digital projector.
Yeah.
Okay? Then you trace on the paper right away, okay? Then you don't have to print the tracing paper, and you don't have to use what's that dark paper stuff underneath, and you don't have to use a light box, nothing, okay? Just kind of, what's coming up? Thanksgiving, Christmas. Okay, it's kind of tell your kids, digital projector. Thank you.
See if that works. That should be bright.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, it's good. Okay, I'm going to show this one.
My job.
Thank you. And when you have a digital projector work with, it's like $100. That's a good money. And like some of them like $45, $80 is more than good enough. And it's like you can actually, I actually come back. I just cut the outline of the kind of larger because it's not that easy to actually just kind of draw it. A lot of people don't like it that way. At our age, twisting our body into the wall is not that easy. So it's not that good. So I actually sitting down, I kind of draw this one. And it's kind of, I understand my painting better that way, drawing, okay? But for me, little detail is not a problem. The proportion, getting at the proportion. Do you remember olden days I have a grid? Thank goodness I don't have to do that. So I use that one, okay? So I think I saw Cheap Joe's or Jerry's. They were having a sales on their opaque projector. Don't buy it. It was expensive, like almost like $300. And I'm like, who wants to buy opaque projector these days? It's obsolete. Nobody's going to use that opaque projector. So now I'm going to start developing shadow, kind of a color of the darker color. Oh, this is too red. It's kind of hard to see. Can you see it? Okay, better. All right. So whatever that I have at this point, color is going to be my lighter version of the cloth. And everybody knows when watercolor is kind of wet, it travels when you touch it. So if I wanted to have another clean line, I will wait until everything dries out, okay? I ironed my tablecloths. I want to make this one very clean and pristine. Actually working pretty good. Blend. Feathering actually works pretty good. This one is, I use the Fabriano's soft press. It actually works pretty, kind of acting pretty good. You know, I bought a bunch of the Fabriano soft press when it was $1.99 per one paper, 140 pounds. Can you believe it? Not even close these days. I think it's when they just kind of first time they came out, they wanted to advertise. The soft press is decent.
You say soft press, you mean hot press?
No, it's actually Fabriano come up with there's cold press, there's a hot press, there's a rough, but now they have a between soft press. And soft press is actually much better than cold press. So this one is a matter of developing, kind of painting every corner. And that's why I don't want to go to sleep. That's why I try so hard to make not to go to sleep, everybody. Do you know how it's, I think this is kind of, when I think about this one, when I go to kind of demonstration and somebody just sit there, paint and paint, paint, I'm like, why am I sitting there, okay? So, ask me a question, crazy question.
Why is soft press better than cold press?
Softer press? I don't know, their sizing is better. Okay, I cannot tell for the other one. I don't think is that there's a softer press on Archie's or Winsor & Newton. Even their sizing is kind of terrible before they kind of cancel and bought it. Still, Archie's and Winsor & Newton is better than Strathmore, because their paper itself is not like, I don't know why they don't make it that sizing, but the Fabriano used to make sizing very like plasticky, kind of surface was very plasticky, even it's cold press. So usually I did not like it because it's water, kind of pigment was never standing in the surface, it just kind of wiggles all the time. But softer press, I noticed, because before Fabriano has a kind of that design almost like this, like Uben, like a zigzag. No, it's not zigzag, it's kind of like this. Can you see?
Like a weave?
Kind of like linen.
Weaving, like this, right here. But the soft press doesn't have that marking. I think it's whatever, kind of when they press it, they must have that kind of weaving like this, kind of, that press. When they press it, that's what it come out. But this one is much finer and softer. Maybe that's why they call softer press.
Is it more like a hot press paper?
Yeah, it's kind of that cold press to act like a hot press in a Fabriano. Used to be.
Is that a 300 pound or?
No, 140 pounds. Actually, what I noticed with Fabriano is it doesn't buckle as much as Winsor & Newton or Arches. And I've been painting this painting for so long, I said, I'm not going to use my good papers. I use the Fabriano.
What is your dark color?
Hmm?
What is your dark color there? The blue? Is
This
it
one.
blue?
Yes. They're coming from my blue palette. And I think probably Prussian blue and some green comes in and some dirty color in it. So it's blue, okay? I usually call my color clean blue, dirty blue. Clean yellow, darker yellow. Or red, clean red, darker red. Can you see it's kind of clean to dark? It's not lighter. Lighter meaning in watercolor, you just add water, that's it. So, for me, can you see, when I look at this one, if I have this one like this, I like this color for this, then I will use it. And because what I see is what I like. If I don't like it, I will probably change it. If I don't have color, I will just score something in it. And I usually, kind of my system of the palette is, I use plate. I travel with it. And I thought I wanted to kind of travel is kind of more problem. So I thought I can actually use the regular palette, and I just cannot deal with it. Because maybe it's because I'm not used to it. I think so everything depends on what you get used to. It's nothing is bad or good. Just it is what it is. All right. Can you see? I'm just kind of developing this one little by little. So when I'm painting, I think somebody says, I must have lots of patience. I didn't think I was. If you act like how just me running around, I don't have patience. But I think when it goes to my painting, I do have a patience. I do have. Because I will just sit around hours, do the same thing over and over and over again, and I'm still okay. I didn't go insane, so. And I kind of enjoy it, so that craziness. So can you see, before it was kind of a little bit light gray to push this one here, and now I'm starting to see kind of developing this crease. Can you see that? And when I did this one, I moved this one to here, here. Can you see? I have a space between, not because I wanted to leave it there, because I don't want to touch what's right next to it because it's still wet. If I touch it, whatever that I worked on is going to be ruined. Ruined means that they just kind of mingle together. So I do this one over and over again to make this one work. So all those things that I have, when I have a blue in my hand, I will just kind of finish up all the blue that I have to work on. I'm not going to stop all of a sudden working on something detailed middle of this process. You see? That process of the detail is going to be last thing I will do. Okay? So I will just kind of stop for this one here, and I'm going to go for the other layers of the other color. Oh. Okay, I'm going to put this one at least once here. And oh, I can show you another way to make this one work, because can you see I put this one quarter right here. Can you see? No, 1/3 goes to paper. Can you see it right here? And press this one hard. And 1/3 flips over, goes to stick it to the other part. Some people like this one better, this way better than others. Okay? Oh, and it's kind of one thing that I didn't do for the this is all right. I didn't put this yellow on the lantern, and I think as I talk about this, yellow glows, white sparkles, a little bit of a white sparkles. So, if you look at this one. Can you see this orange? It's kind of a little bit brighter, and this one is actually a fresh one. It's not the dried one. In order to make this one glows like that, yellow is the key. If you don't have yellow underneath, this lantern is not going to glow. Thank you.
You hoard paper, I hoard brushes. So what kind of brush do you like? What is your favorite?
This one, okay. I brought actually this brush. This one is actually, I like this one for the background because it's kind, can you see how chubby this one is? It doesn't have a good tip. I like if there's a hair, is Kolinsky, what you call Kolinsky or Red Saber? Like this. It's so good, but they are expensive. If I have it, I have to have insurance on it because I just running around all the time. I lose all the time, okay? So, it's not good for me to buy Kolinsky or Red Saber because I don't want to wash it in my house. I wanted to use it because that's kind of too expensive. And so sometime when I go to workshop and they have a beautiful set, and they say they pay about several hundred, kind of $100. I'm like, I truly, okay, can I use it? But I like to use, this one is silver black velvet. This one is what I call, what they say is like a half bush-tailed squirrel. Squirrel, kind of bush-tailed rat. Okay, squirrel hair, and I cannot say that word. L and R, I cannot say it. Okay, and another thing is half synthetic bristle or something. So synthetic hair and that half and half. So I don't know whoever come up with this idea. This was brilliant actually because there's what they call Isabe, company name Isabe actually makes the squirrel kind of that they make it very chubby and tied up with a metal thing. That brush holds lots of water, but it's terrible. It's hard to clean, and once I use it, I call that one codependent brush. Because once we apply it, it doesn't know how to get up. Because I have to constantly, okay, get up, and let's go for the next one, get up, get the next one. It doesn't know how to get up, so that's I call it codependent brush. And the synthetic brush I usually don't like to use because I layers a lot and they usually scratches off when my layer is. I have to be very careful about it, okay? But that one, it just cannot stand up too much. That's too independent for me, okay? But this one is just between. And it's not that expensive. And Jerry's or Cheap Joe's, sometimes I think once, twice a year, they have on sale. That's when I buy it. And actually, they use my painting to advertise. I don't get a royalty or something, but one time, Watercolor magazine or the artist magazine, they want me to, they're gonna run my article. I said, okay. And usually when they run article, they kind of ask you a question. 50 questions, like I don't have to answer everything. I can answer whatever that I want to, okay? And there's one of them is kind of, usually when they ask me about brush, I always talk about this brush. I brought that Korean brush. Did I bring it here?
Who makes that brush in your hand? Who makes that?
Silver. Silverbrush.com. And they make lots of oil brush, acrylic brush, and this is what you call 3000 S series. 3000 silver, black velvet, 3000 S. So Silver Brush makes this one. And I think it used to be made from Japan. And I don't know why, they moved to briefly Sri Lanka. And now I think it's went to China, I heard. So I heard after that China kind of got it, it's kind of, this one is just kind of off, kind of will come off, I don't know. This one is actually an old one, it was made in Japan. So I have lots of them because of when they are on sale. Holder, brushy holder, okay. Made in Japan, I bought a bunch of them before, but I said now, actually, if I wanted to ask, if I ask them, they will give me a brush, but I will not ask. So this one is kind of silver black velvet. It's very good brush, and a lot of people actually have in, at the workshop. It's very good.
Thank you.
And price is right. And some of the brush I'm using is almost like 20 years old and I still use it. Okay. And I'm going to have, I have kind of color of the leaves. So eventually what's going to happen is I am going to lose every white color of the paper, and only white flickering light I'm going to see is in the creaser. Okay, so right now I saved some of the white with the frisket, but eventually I am going to cover most of the white. That way, actually, I can create another layers of color. Can you see the dimension of the another layer? The creaser. So I'm gonna go kind of right now. So what I'm creating is right now I'm gonna go for the red. And when I'm creating a red, it's that this is kind of between medium color right here, and white is up here. Can you see? And later, when I'm finalizing it, black is gonna come in here. But between, it's kind of between here and here, I am going to create this one after frisket is off. So it's kind of, there's a kind of systematically. So I don't have to paint every corner. And some people are probably asking me if it's kind of, how come you have this area purple? I have no idea, it just happened, okay? I just kind of kept it. So that's how, so now I don't want to, I spent lots of hours painting, actually. I love it, but still, I don't want to paint every corner what it look like, because I just want to do it my own way. It's easier too. All right, now it's a red time. So I usually go with, this one is bad. This one is alizarin crimson. I don't want alizarin crimson. I want permanent rose. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use here, because that one has a lot of dirty color. I am going to use permanent rose. This is my organization skill. Dump everything in it. Because if I don't use colors, there's not much. I can make things happen. It looks like lots of red, but it's not.
Is all the yellow dry now?
Yes. Tony went downstairs, used the hair dryer.
Do you typically use a hairdryer to dry?
When I'm at home, Gina, I don't want to bother to use a hair dryer because I don't want to stand there doing this. I just put it aside, I will do another thing, okay? But when we are in workshop, we are crunching the time, we will use a hair dryer. And sometimes some people say, can a hair dryer is not going to make a frisket come out? It's not true. Because I use a hair dryer all the time at the workshop. And can everybody worry about frisket is not going to come out? It never happened. But only one time, only one thing that you have to remember is I already, people who are in workshop, I say, you're going to hear exactly what I say already, you're going to hear. When you are applying your frisket, think about your parking lot, okay? There's a parking lot, there's a line, you draw the painted line, right? You just park right in guided parking lot. You don't want to use frisket like that way. That's too thin for this paper. You wanted to apply your frisket like speed bumps. Can you see? When you apply like speed bump, it doesn't matter. Even a year later, you can take the frisket off without actually damaging.
I have a question.
Yes.
So all those shapes frisketed previously, like all those flowers, is that all
This one?
in the glass?
Yeah.
It's all
The line is all frisket. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
I prepare because I don't want to bore you, so I'm just gonna sit there.
It would take a long time. Yeah.
So when I go to workshop, I make them work too, because I'm not going to only work. I'm not going to only suffer, I call it. It's so funny because we don't do much when we are painting. We just sit and we paint, right? We only use our hands. Why we say, oh, we are so tired? And I'm like, what? You only use your just kind of hands. You didn't even walk around. Can you see? Because I want you to look at, kind of hard to see. But if you look at this one, some of them has a little orangier and some of them a little redder. Can you see? The color doesn't, everything just kind of soak into just one color. This one kind of give you layers of a different color, kind of how you apply it. And after this one dries, I'm going to ask Tony to dry this one more time.
Well, I'm useful to somebody.
Okay, I just want to go with this one more time here. Okay. Then we're going to go for the blue.
Where's the light source on this one? The direction of the light on this picture?
Directional light was coming from this side actually. It looked like it's coming from this side. Can you see the light is coming from actually this side? Can you see here? Here? But usually glass, crystal lights up other side. Can you see? Kind of when you hit it from here, can you see it? Because I can see the light coming from here because that lantern has a light coming from here. Can you see? This side. The shadow comes falls down here. But because it's kind of when I have water, whatever the reason, when I take picture from there, other side lights up. Otherwise, it's going to be just kind of to the. So, you know, if you think about it, kind of, if you have a kind of painting very opaque, like a little bit of a cup, always you deal with reflected light. Can you see? You have to have reflected light to have to kind of have a other side to make this one kind of stand out. But I think being crystal reflects more maybe. I told you I can make up stuff. All right. Go stronger the better. So, when I take a picture, you know, I usually have kind of last of a picture to just kind of, oh, I just painted this one. I wonder why this color is going to be a little bit dull. I just paint this. What can I do? What can I say? All right. So this one, my hair, it's okay. Please, thank you.
If you want to know what the president of an organization does.
Oh, hold on. Can I have that one?
Want it back, the board?
Board.
You screwed up.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So this one I already did blue. So this one is kind of done, okay? I already did this blue. So at this point, if I want to go a little bit more blue, or if I want to kind of take the frisket off. So I think it's about time I will take the frisket off, okay? The table is very floppy.
Did you use permanent rose as the red layer on that also?
Huh?
Did you also use permanent rose for that red layer?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. And I made it this one a little bit darker. I think it's I used maybe black. My black is actually permanent alizarin crimson, sepia, and indigo. Can you see the three colors? It's not black. It's a regular black, it's ugly. It's very soft, no energy, nothing. And you wanted to add some color. So I made it this one, I just kind of popping around a little bit. But this one is exactly the same as yellow, red, blue.
Could you repeat what your black is?
Hmm?
Could you repeat what your black is?
Black, mixture of black, indigo, sepia, permanent alizarin crimson. If you don't have a permanent alizarin crimson, quinacridone red. That's the same color.
If some of your masking fluid doesn't come out the way you want it, do you use gouache, white gouache,
Gouache,
white gouache paint?
I never use gouache paint. Because when you use gouache paint, that becomes kind of a little flat. You see, it's kind of, so if you use gouache, if I have to use gouache, that means I'm going to paint the whole painting with the gouache, okay? That I will do, but I will not because of that. Okay, what I do is, there's a trick to it. Sorry. I use, oh, this is not my Udecno knife. I carry around my Udecno knife. Okay. Can you see? I rather scratch it. Scratching is actually a lot better than you try to use gouache. Because gouache make it flat, so it's it doesn't go together with the rest of the area, usually. It looks okay, but you can actually tell it's a gouache. But if I use the scratch it just works better. Okay, can you see this color here? Because only one color. I use the same color here. Yellow and red, permanent rose. And this one I used the blue. And this cherries I didn't use blue. Okay? Because I want cherry to be a little more glow. So at this point, it's just when I go to work demonstration, I always did it sometimes I do it at home, it's flipping over, it's this fast painting. I can do it within 30 minutes. That will be just so good. But lots of the time when you come to demonstration, you want to know how I do it, what I do. Okay, not something you prefer. Thank you. Just completely dry. It's good. It's too cool a little bit. It's pretty good. All right. And this is the time what I call is dippity-doo. We have to have fun when we are painting, okay? And otherwise, you're gonna go to sleep. So what I do is kind of dippity-doo means kind of, can you see this white? This is kind of too much white. For me, this is too much white. This one is, I gotta make this one disappear. So I save this white for this reason, but I am going to make this one a little bit darker in some of the area. That's what become another layers of that value. So I'm gonna go this one, same as yellow. Can you see? You wanted to use softer paint, kind of brush. So softer brush, because if you use a synthetic brush, it's taking out what's underneath the color. Can you see the yellow coming out? All right. And you see, I can see, do you remember I said this is the paper Fabriano? If you have Archie's or Winsor & Newton, when I do dippity-dip, that red is not going to lift it up. But this one, I see a little bit lifting up.
Now, theoretically, could you not have done a wash of yellow first? Let it dry, then mask?
But I don't want it to have everything yellow.
Okay.
I'm going to have a flickering light here and there. Okay? I'm going to go this yellow and red and blue again. So I'm trying to mix again, yellow and red and blue. Can you see? And within this line, some of them is going to be red, some of them might be blue, some of them might be mixture of something, some dirty looking. But between, some of the light is going to be there, kind of flickering light, white, that I'm not going to touch. Not because I'm not going to touch, I'm just going to leave it there inevitably. I don't know, it happens, okay? So I'm doing this because in the beginning, I don't know where the yellow is, I don't know where the, what. That's going to be harder, so you said it, and I'm like, okay, I tried to think about if I could do it. That's too much work. I don't know, I cannot think that way. Try, you try, not me. I forgot to frisk it here. Okay, yellow is done, red. Where's my red? So this is going to be completely my base. So after that, I'm going to go darker red. If I see it, I'm going to go darker red. Only that part. After this, me doing this is done. That's the fun part. It's done. Now, after this, I am going to concentrate where the darker is, more red or blue or darker what. I started developing that one from that point, this point, after this. That's what I call detail. This one is fun time still, dippity-doo. You see, I'm killing this one. I am applying this one like this. I'm not going through line by line. I am actually randomly just poking around all over. It doesn't matter if it's I'm not only going white area, I'm going all over. Because another color became another layers of the color. Yay. Too much red. Okay, I think that's good red. More. And after this, blue. Because I have this kind of Prussian blue, and I'm going to mix with turquoise, a little bit lighter color. And it's funny because I carry it on my tube because I like the color coming out of the tube best. Softer, I don't have to dig it out too much, cleanest. Oh, this is a Prussian blue, I think.
So you wouldn't let that red layer dry first and then apply the Prussian, you apply the Prussian blue while the red is still wet?
Yeah, why not? And it's kind of, if I do larger painting, sometimes kind of for me, it's kind of for my kind of I do paint kind of more seriously.
Yeah.
I sometimes let it dry before I do it this way, so it doesn't get too mangled up.
Yeah.
Okay. But it does. It's okay. So if you look at this one, kind of randomly, I just kind of feel like it look like I just covered things up. But if you magnify this corner, kind of one section, there's going to be so many, kind of one line between maybe blue and red and purple and green and yellow. It's all sorts of things. Maybe just kind of one color is kind of so it might be it. But usually that's what's happening within a line, okay? I cannot paint line that way. And, you know, I apply Frisket very thin way, but lots of time, kind of there's application with the Frisket can be very different. It doesn't mean that you cannot fix it. You can always kind of, you just do this part, kind of these steps, and you can actually making a kind of what I call it, cut it between. Can you see? You have like a fettuccine noodle. It's kind of thick like this, right? And you have all those color going on here, and you just kind of cut it between. Can you see? You have a skinny line with the black, and you have all those color different going on. All right. Can you see? I made it this one kind of pretty dark. I can actually go dark, but I will stop. All right. So, I didn't do this one. Can you see this one is now, I have to let this one completely dry out before I go for the detail. And I wanted to talk about my cherries. Oh, I'm going to go that one blue first. Blue. I am so organized today. All right. Can you see now it's kind of very warm? You can see this warmness. It's kind of, you can actually, I did it this one because I want you to kind of see the comparison. Because you can see this one kind of warmth are kind of similar, except some of them are more yellowish. But if you look at this one, some of them are yellow and redder, more pinkish, or it's kind of all sorts of things. Now, blue is going to come in. It's too dirty. You see, I'm just kind of making this one lighter. It's kind of, watercolor is so easy because if you want to make a lighter color of some sort, add water.
Do you have favorite paint companies that you prefer?
Huh?
Do you have favorite paint
company.
That you prefer?
I'm kind of a more like I like turquoise, this company. I like yellow with mission gold, kind of different way, yeah. And sometimes I think it's just kind of some people who never bought pigment, and they ask me what kind of a pigment I want to buy, kind of should they buy or something, and I say, I think it's Winsor & Newton has a long history because there's reason, because their colors are usually pretty good, kind of Winsor & Newton. So I have lots of kind of favorite color of the Winsor & Newton. Permanent crimson and indigo, sepia, and what else? Like a Prussian blue, and it's kind of hookers. It's kind of most of the things, kind of very base color that I use. I really like Winsor & Newton.
You know the quinacridone family of colors?
Quinacridone, they're pretty good. I think it's kind of Daniel Smith has come up with them many colors, but usually I'm not. If you paint quinacridone painting with just kind of loosely, kind of mingling or something, that's okay. But quinacridone color itself has lots of color mixture in it, so when you layer, mud comes out. So usually I don't use quinacridone gold, which kind of that's yellowish, but the gold has already a little bit of green in it, blue in it, red in it, yellow in it, all sorts of stuff. So if I use the quinacridone gold underneath, this red is going to be a little bit kind of muddy looking. It's not going to be pretty. So all those quinacridone family paintings, kind of pigment is beautiful. Can you see? As is already beautiful. You just wanted to paint like as is. Not. Do you know, I heard the quinacridone family is like a quinacridone pigment is from automobile company.
Yeah, I heard that.
Have you heard that?
Yes.
Because who has the money? Car company, right?
Yes.
And they car sit around the car sun all the time, so. All right. It's clever to kind of use it. I love the some of the color that I haven't used extensively because I don't want to invest another money on the another color. But I like, if you buy the quinacridone burnt orange, you don't need the burnt sienna. Beautiful burnt sienna is coming. It's kind of burnt orange. You see, I applied this blue. Can you see the difference this way, kind of this one and this one? How much I calm this one down? All right, this is pretty good. Can you see? So now, kind of hard to see this one is when you have a break, you can come and see it. There's so many different color comes through it. It's not just kind of one color, right? That's the kind of when you layer, that's the thing that you can actually see through.
Can you show us the painting again?
Huh?
Can you show us the picture again?
This one
Yeah,
is in my,
on your phone.
yeah. Oh, there it is. Can you see it? It's not same.
Yeah.
I don't care. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Or dipping our pink.
0186.
0186. Like there? Good? No? And we'll do one more, and then we'll get back to the demo, and we'll let you get back, and we'll let soon continue, because she'll go back to work. You're on. You're on.
Okay. Right. It's not. It's kind of forever. I don't know kind of how to make this one easier you to understand that what I do to make these things work. But this one I finished the definitive, right? And I just wanted to show you how to finish off this area. So I don't have enough time to just kind of finish up the whole area. That's why I didn't take the frisket off all over the place. I only did here. And I think I'm gonna it's kind of, I wanted to show you, usually, even when I did for the lantern, can you see, my undercoat is always consists with flat. I don't detail out. I don't put dark to light, try to develop this one at that point. I always try to develop this one after undercoat is completely done. Then I will try to develop where the light goes, where the dark goes. And I will just kind of put more darker area, darker color. Lighter area, if it's necessary, I have to scrub this one off, and I will scrub that one off to just kind of make it a little lighter. So I go just kind of back and forth, back and forth. So if I want to make this one, cherries make a little bit lighter, cherries. I'm gonna open this one. Like this. All right. And I'm going to take the frisket off. And what I'm going to do is, if you apply the frisket, the light, whatever that you apply the frisket is going to be very harsh. It's just going to send out like crazy. So you wanted to kind of soften it or do something to make it work. This one, I frisket it because this is just a highlight, because this is the area, I wanted to soften it. But when I soften it, other area is going to be a little bit kind of red and yellow is contain it, but where the frisket area is going to be lighter than when I scrub that area. So that's what I wanted to look for. And this is what I'm using, scrub brush. I'm going to take some red off here. Right. I have red.
Did you have yellow on the cherries? You had yellow first. On the cherries, you had yellow first.
Yes.
Okay.
Yellow underneath,
Got it.
red.
Right.
It's kind of dark enough for it. And I'm going to go, usually I use sepia. I think this is sepia right here. All right. Sepia, and I'm going to mix with a little bit of alizarin crimson to make this dark. And this is the color that I'm going to use for the shaded area, shadow area. This is I'm not using lots of water at this point. And I'm going to use red to blend this one out. Because I use this red to blend out because I don't want it to clean out my red, what's underneath. If I use clean water, the clean water is going to lift some of the red off. a little bit of yellow on top. It's not yellow. To give a little bit of glow. Scrub this one off a little bit.
What colors did you use to create the background of that wall?
This,
Yeah.
indigo, sepia, permanent alizarin crimson. It's kind of, if you mix a kind of mixture, this is the kind of, I just kind of dump it in, it's kind of alizarin crimson. Then kind of you can actually go either way. Sometimes if you wanted to create something more greenish black, then you can actually use a Dalo or Viridian or Hookers or whatever that you want to. And it's kind of, other one just kind of go with it. And if I wanted to make reddish black, and I would have a little more alizarin crimson than other one. And if I wanted to bluish black, and the blue, indigo actually doesn't work to create blue a lot because it's already dark. So I will just kind of put a little bit of Prussian blue, or kind of, you have to be careful if you are putting phthalo blue because they're very strong.
Do you mix those three colors together and then apply it, or do you do layers?
To black here, usually I layer because of what I do is usually I didn't do this one underneath the yellow, but usually if I go for the black, I will just kind of, if any leftover yellow, I will just kind of put it on my background. So what yellow does is, yellow is opaque. Most of the yellows are all opaque, kind of almost 100%. So what it does, yellow is kind of very, kind of right next to white color. Can you see? It's kind of, but what it does is it cut off this paper white, because that paper white, and even I have it kind of right now, I used kind of black, but I can still see some of the white kind of gray coming through it. I didn't use yellow under to it. But if you have a yellow undercut to it, sometime if I apply black very nicely, one coat might be fine. But usually I deal with another coat to make a solid black. And it's when you are applying it, you want it to have a little bit kind of thicker coat, not the watery, okay? So this one is, I'm tweaking it to make it.
So, just so I understand about the background color, do you mix all those colors together
Yes.
first and then apply it,
Yes.
as opposed to layer?
Yeah, oh, so I mix it first.
Right, okay.
Yes. So I have a yellow palette, blue palette, red palette, and my black palette. And you see, this one I mix. And I always keep this black because sometimes when I'm finalizing the painting, sometimes I need a dark color, maybe dark red or darker green or darker something. And instead of trying to create some kind of other color in it, I just kind of dip a little bit of this one to kind of make the color darker. It's kind of easy. All right. I'm just going to keep it this one this way. This paper is lifting up. Because I wanted to keep this area lighter, I just kind of scrub and I will just kind of just dab it off. But otherwise it's going to be stay, doesn't change anything much. Little bit of highlight. Okay, I think I'm just gonna keep this one here, and I'm gonna go for I just wanted to show you how I scrub some of the highlight out and just kind of go for the dark. Can you see? I didn't have to apply another color because my main color is already done. So I just kind of have the lighter part.
What kind of scrubbers are those? Are they actual scrubbers or they just?
Okay, the scrub brush is going to be a little bit hard to say these days because this one is, I bought this one bunch of them, I think it's not a bunch of them. I tell wherever I go for the workshop, I told them to buy this Tulip company.
Okay.
This is actually fabric painting brush, not the scrubber. But these days, our paper sizing is very soft. So you don't want to use kind of that olden days scrubber thing, that round, stubby one.
Yeah.
You don't want to use that because, so what I do is these days, if I brought that one, what I do this one is these days, I actually chiseling it off. Oh. This one was one of those, I think Silver Company make this kind of chubby one. And I cannot, because when you use the chubby one, I cannot get clean line out of it. Because it get everything mushes up and it's kind of make it bad. So what I did, because of this, that Tulip company has this one, it was kind of cheap too. Can you see?
Yeah.
It's an angled brush and it's kind of skinnier. It's not that fat. So it's kind of thin layer, so I can actually press it to make this one line clean. It's kind of, I can control this one really better, it's much better. But this one is just kind of too stubby, line get mushed up and doesn't clean much. So what I did was, olden days I'd come with a kind of scrubber and red hander. I actually chiseled this one out. I just kind of cut off most of the hair, both sides. And I angled it. Can you see? I cut it and I actually used it a little bit better. Okay? So, but still, so this one is made out of what they call synthetic Brushwork. Okay, so since it's not like so nylon is not going to work, the red Teflon doesn't work, but this one is work. But I've been just kind of searching and searching. I cannot find any other thing. It comes out with this. But this one is silver brush. I told them about this one hair being a little bit taller and kind of skinnier, but they make this one like olden day style, and it's like I just cannot use it. So I just kind of, all right. So when things get a little bit kind of bad, and I just kind of make this one, cut it to make shorter. And I think it's better to use if you have some of the old oil brush. And if that is kind of, you use so much, you just kind of shorten it, actually that works better too, okay? Kind of flat one. And if you can find, this one is, I forgot the name of it, it's organ. This one is, actually this one is fabric painting brush too. It's coming from fabric painting. This one is the exact same hair. And this one is kind of angled too. And I cannot find it because I kind of searched the Google, but I didn't see it. And what happened was, this Tulip company, this fabric painting brush, they discontinued this one because I called the company. It's like, what happened to that one? It's like, they discontinued, and I think it's at the Hobby Lobby. I think I bought it out, like maybe kind of 5 of them. That was the last one I ever to see it. And I called the company what happened, and they discontinued this one, and they're just making a cheapy stuff. And what happened was, this one was kind of, price was pretty good, and I really liked it, and so I tell everybody to go buy this one, right? And I told everybody, don't tell them to move this item to fine art section, then price goes up. And this one was in the fabric painting section. It was 5 of them in it. It was like $8.99 or $10.99 something. But no longer make it. So either way it was fine. It was good, wasn't it? All right. So I did this one. I show you this one, how to make this one cherry work, okay? And I show you this one a little bit, kind of how I go by it. And I wanted to show people, time comes up, I wanted to show how to make this dark area works. So if you're looking for, maybe Massachusetts is out of the country, like not in the United States, who knows? Maybe you can search the Google, synthetic Bristol fabric painting brush. So now is the time I am going for detail. And where, can you see? I am where it is kind of darker, I will go darker. On top. And even within, if I wanted to make this one a little bit blended, I will do it. And very clean red here. That's pretty good. And I use Allegiant Crimson here, but if I want to make, can you see, I see some of the dark, I will just kind of dab it into my black. And this one has a sepia in it, indigo in it, and it's kind of Allegiant Crimson in it, okay? So it's not, I don't like just black because it's flat. The color is very flat, and it kind of doesn't have any life to it. But if you look at this sea black, it has color in it, not just kind of black. But you know, sometimes that lighter color, it looks kind of gray. But when you have a dense, it looks black. Can you see? That's how it goes. All right. So this one is black, is coming from my background black, okay? That's how I wanted to think. And it's going to be very tedious. So I will go this one as much as I can. And it's generally what the bottom part, I'm going to go a little bit darker. You see, there's actually no white whatsoever. And there's some green comes in. So I'm applying this one with red, but still you can see that little bit of a line to it. Not going to be cover everything. And after that, this is the time actually I usually get a number 6, kind of good brush is number 6, bad brush maybe number 4. Kind of with a tip, number 4, and then this one, oh, this is pretty good. Then I will actually some point, I will go this black. Can you see? And I am not going to use this one with lots of water. If you use too much water, your line is going to get thicker and it just kind of spread out. If you use too much water, it's no longer black, it's going to be a gray. Then after this, I am going to, essentially what I'm doing is, I am creating right next to line, black to bring this color back out, okay? So that's what kind of makes it sharp. So I will do this one all night. And it's when I do this one, kind of before, when I was applying it, so I was applying this one like this. Holding my brush, kind of, it controls my head, what I'm thinking. So when I go detail, I hold my brush like how I write. Can you see that? Here it's kind of a little bit darker, so I don't know where I'm going. So this is how I finish my crystal painting. It just because right now I go a little bit faster, kind of a workshop piece. But you know, when I put my mind to it, I will go. This one might be a little detailed, but this is generally my process go through all the time. And I think that I have 2 books. Reading one of them, I think it's just kind of maybe even 17 years ago, 15 years ago, I don't even know. Only one thing it changed what I do is my tool changed. I use dog ball. I use kind of even before tool is okay, and it's kind of color changed, and the brush, and maybe it's kind of first book is kind of different brush I used, and second book I just use brush. Tool changed, everything changes, but how I paint hasn't changed from since then. Okay, even then, it's kind of I painted exactly the same way. And these days, actually, I dare to try a little more complicated work than before. Digital projector. Because I don't have to work too much for the drawing, okay? But still, it doesn't mean that easier, because it takes exactly the same time. Kind of that I have to paint, but you know, I have nothing to do but painting. Why not try?
I have a question, Tom.
Yes.
I'm sure you've never used white gouache on these, right?
No, I never use white gouache. If you look at everything there, it's kind of. If you have I have a painting downstairs. I don't use any gouache.
I agree.
You do?
I agree with that policy. Some people do.
You know, so who cares? Kind of you use gouache, you could use. I don't know. I just kind of. I don't want to invest money on gouache again. And actually, I have a set of gouache, but when I paint the gouache, I have sometime go demonstration, kind of a water thing or something, and the paper I cannot even use with watercolor because it just show through. So sometimes I use acrylic to completely cover it up, use acrylic, or sometimes I use gouache. Sometimes can I use gouache, but gouache is a lot more expensive than watercolors. I will not buy gouache. But if you want to have white, because actually I had to change. That painting right now, where is it? It's in Kansas. Actually, I painted something kind of very dark, kind of shade of kind of something, and that thing doesn't work. After I look at it, oh my God, I don't like that thing. And watercolors, sometimes people say watercolor, you cannot change it. It's not true. You can change anything. I never use gouache, still I can change it. Because only one thing I cannot get out of it is paper white. I can get always out something lighter than surrounding, okay? But that one is underneath. It's completely sunny area. And I have to have white. I scrub that one off. I know I cannot get out. And that one, I actually used a gouache to make that area completely covered up because I cannot make that one like a white kind of paper. So that I use, but it's for the little tippy thing, I will not use it. But that one is kind of covering up the whole right corner, doing something different. But if you have a gouache to use it, why not? Tina, for me, is anything you use to make it work? Who can say anything? Only one thing you cannot do is just don't enter Transparent Watercolor Society. I heard they check.
It's still
still water media, so you can call it watercolor even if it has a
But
little.
I think they call it like transparent watercolor society, says water media is okay, but not the transparent watercolor society. Because it's not allowed to use white, gouache, any other medium, but watercolor. Like, so you cannot use ink. You know, India ink, you just use water, you cannot use it.
So if you add brush, you can't call it a watercolor?
Oh, it is watercolor. Okay, of course watercolor. Gouache is watercolor. Gouache is a watercolor, but it's an opaque medium.
Do you handle silver the same way as you do this?
You mean the gold thing that I used to use?
What?
Kind of silver? You mean what silver?
Sterling silver. You painting something with like that.
Oh, you mean silver?
Yes,
Yeah.
you do the same process.
But silver, if you wanted to have a clean silver, you don't want to use yellow because it's gonna tarnish silver will come out. Okay? So you want it to be very careful. But it's, I don't like to paint just silver. I like to paint something reflection on it or something. Yeah, so it's kind of, but it's, if you want to have a silver color comes out, that's where you don't want to use yellow. But if I see kind of, I do actually paint a lot of silver. And it's kind of, there's a reflection to it, where the reflection red, underneath going to be a little bit of yellow or something, but where the silver area, I will not use yellow.
Same process with the layering.
Yes, yes. Even the garlic, I layered and layered and layered. Can you see? It's not layered and layered and layered, but it's like, if you look at it, there's a yellow underneath to it. Can I get? It's not all over the place, especially where the root system, there's a lots of yellow in it. Okay, so this one goes this way, right? I was going to do something, I don't know what it is. So do you want to see this one a little bit more? It's forever. It goes on and on and on and on and on, okay? So this one goes on and on and on. All right. So what I want us to show is, I wanted to make, because everybody's, okay, because you insist on using gouache, but I don't have to use gouache to make sparkle. I'm going to make a water drop. Water drop, you always deal with, I think this is kind of, when you see water drop, lots of time people frisk at everything. Never ever do that, okay? Water drop, you always dealing with background color, okay? Because water drop is on top of the red rose, red. Some areas going to be darker, some areas going to be lighter and sparkle. That's it, okay? So here I have all those colors, and I have this one is kind of a little bit reddish tone to it. I'm not going to go this one too blue because the color doesn't go together. So it's redder. Okay, let's go for the red. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna give you that idea. Pencil, even for me, it's better. This is gonna be right here. Can you see? And this one is coming from here up here. So this is gonna be right here, right? So. Permanent rose and a little bit of blue in it. Have a little bit of blue in it. So I don't have that white spot, okay? So I always call this one blue moon, half moon. Can you see? It's a round and this is a half moon, and this half is going to be blended within the circle. If you get out of the circle, you are not going to have a circle, okay? You are going to be pudged up, what do you call? Can you see? I blend this one, and same color is going to be, okay, where the shadow goes, okay, here. You see? So this one it's not that sparkly because it's kind of background red in it. Probably wait it. You see? And I will actually go under. This is smiley mouth, I call it. A little bit darker. Can you see? So that's gonna be my
So did you use the knife to rub it or pick out?
pick out. You tip it. Okay. Can you come in near? I can show you. Does it make sense? No?
Can I just see?
Alright. Okay, so you don't want to rub it, okay? You want to keep it sparkling. Can you see it? Okay, I think it's have to make another. Like this. Can you see? I press it, tip it. So, like this. Okay? And if I think this one I did it already. And this underneath, I scrub it. And I kind of scratch it.
Oh, great, thank you.
Scratch it right here.
I'm gonna do that, thank you.
And this one is right here, like this.
That's
okay?
great.
Right.
Gouache.
Okay, that's it.
That's good.
That's enough?
That's good, thank you very
All
much.
right. Thank you for coming. So if you wanted to see close up, like come closer, you can see the different color.
If you haven't seen them, there's some finished work up here, take a look at it, absolutely gorgeous.